Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I'm here with what's going to be a brand new Let's Play, and the game is called King of Dragon Pass. This is not a new game, this is an old game, but it's an old game, well, I didn't know existed. I never heard of, I never had the opportunity to play if you don't know about it. And that's a real shame, because this is one of those amazing hidden gems. How did I hear about this game? Well, I heard about this game by, Nucrium was playing a new game that's similar to this. This game is actually, I think, made in 1999. I picked it up off of Grand Old Games because I'm boycotting Steam for the holidays. And even though this is an older game, I'm perfectly fine picking it up. And the reason I haven't picked up the new game that I saw Nucrium playing that's very much like this except a little more modern is that that new game is for Windows 10 and does not function on Windows 7. So that's kind of sad. But this game does function on Windows 7, and this game is very much a lot like the new game in many ways, except the graphics are a little bit worse, but still, for the type of game that this is, where this is more of a story mode game, the graphics are fine. This is not a game that requires really good graphics, and in some ways this game has more graphical representation of stuff than the new game does. So I don't really feel like coming back and playing this old game is going to be less interesting than playing the new game. In fact, from watching gameplay of this game and gameplay of Nucrium playing the other game, I felt very much equally enjoyable viewing experiences. Like, I was itching to play either game, and they very much gave me the same feel. So, because I can't play that one isn't such a bad deal, because I can play this one. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Let's Play on the King of the Dragon Pass, and yeah, let's jump into this. This episode is going to basically be me creating our starting clan. Which is very interesting. Let's jump in and do that. Okay, there once was a time when gods and people walked the earth together. Your clan traces its ancestry back to those times. Your clan history began when you joined the force of the storm god Orlanth. Back then, Orlanth was simply one of many upstart, rebellious gods bent upon conquest of the world. Orlanth's unique contributions at that time were personal honor and a close kinship to the other deities who seemed to be on the winning side. After many tribulations, adventures, and discoveries, Orlanth proved himself worthy of marrying Erinalda, the Earth Mother. The two formed the marriage ring, and created a great harmony in the world through this sacred bond. Your clan took part in the wedding ceremony. Most clans either whooped with Orlanth or learned a secret from Erinalda. A few clans stood with Elmel, god of horses and sun, as an honor guard. How did you prepare for the great marriage? Your men and women donned gleaming armor and stood guard with Elmel to protect the celebrants from Orlanth's many enemies. Your men whooped with Orlanth and drank the 8 known drinks so that your head would hurt during the ceremony. Your women withdrew with Erinalda and learned a list of names which they promised not to repeat to the men. I think we were part of the honor guard. Orlanth's struggle to remake the world was just beginning, and many other gods joined him in it. Orlanth fought Yelm, the Bright Emperor, and undertook many wars of conquest. Other more peaceful deeds were just as important. Your earliest famous event was the healing of Orlanth, when the merciful goddess Chalene Arroy joined Orlanth's tribe. The 100-day hunt where Orlanth and his son Odila tracked the Skybear. Jested settlement where Orlanth and Isseries, the talking god, outwitted foreign deities in a difficult negotiation. The procession of the animals, where Uralda and the Cow Mother led the sacred herd into Orlanth's stead. When Barntar, son of Orlanth and Uralda, learned of harnessing oxen to plow. When Lancor, Mai, the knowing god, learned how to use the marking bones, which could mark signs of power upon anything. Or when Pella, the pottery goddess, made the first pot to store grain in. Or when Roitina, lady of dance, first did the clan-making dance. I think it was the healing of Orlanth, when the merciful goddess of Chalene Array joined Orlanth's tribe. Alright, Orlanth succeeded in remaking the world. Thus began the golden era called the Storm Ages. Orlanth's son, Vinkoth, was a famous warlord during this time. Most people in the area were his followers. He introduced new principles, such as the rule of hospitality, which said that after you invited people into your steads, you could not attack or harm them. Thus was much treachery banished from Orlanthi society. Many of who would not have survived agreed to his new ways in order to gain his protection. He was a great organizer and helped the many scattered people form into new clans and tribes. Your clan was one of those aided by King Vinkoth. After you proved yourself robust and capable of survival, Vinkoth placed a remnant people under your protection. They were the Nalda Bin, or stick farmers. You had a choice whether to make them into thralls, slaves, or adopt them as members of your clan. How did you add these strangers? Well, we adopted them. The foes of the Vingotlings were many, and your people fought hard against them. Which one of them in particular did you fight? Did we fight Baz-Taken, the Troll Lord? Ukar Gra, king of the Basmoli Beastmen? Chinkasmore, the Elf Warlord? Tada, the Green, champion of the Flatland called Prax? Or Vesvena, warlord of the Ice Tribe? I think we fought the trolls. The Storm Age ended in disaster when the gods and the creatures of chaos came and destroyed nearly everything. Orlanth and his allies fought hard, but chaos almost always won. Many gods died, and new ones rose to prominence. Many people died too. Catastrophe shook the world, the sunfall, the rain and blood, and terrible laughing tsunami. The darkness got so bad that even Orlanth and his companions had to abandon humans to their own destiny. Only a few deities, either small ones or weak ones, remained. The world stagnated and died. Your clan was diminished to a ragged handful of hardy survivors. Herocraft, the king, was the leader who emerged amid the turmoil of the darkness. The efforts of Herocraft and his companions helped set the world in order again. He created the laws that we follow to this day. One of the great distinctions which Herocraft discerned amongst his clans was that some of them tended towards either peace or war, while others maintained a balance between these two principles. Which kind was your clan? Well, I believe we were a balanced clan, most definitely. Finally, the sun rose again, while the rest of society worked to protect themselves find food, or otherwise just survive, the first priests worked to re-establish links with the ancient deities. With a new harmony between people and deities, the world was slightly improved. Once the awakening process had begun, it got easier and went quicker as the gods woke each other too. Who was the first deity which your clan helped to awaken? Well, none. Our ancestors are good enough. None. We return the worship of our living deity. Elmel, the loyal Thane. Urox, the storm bull. Odoila, the hunter. Ernalda, the mother goddess. Orlanth, the father. Isres, the talking god. Lankarmi, the knowing god. Chelana Oroi, the healing goddess. Oralda, the cow mother. Well, Elmo seems like we have the most connection to him, right? Maybe that's who we should awaken. Though we do have some connection to Chelna Oroi, the healing goddess, and it would be good if we woke the healer of the gods first, in case the other gods needed medical attention? I don't know, I'm reaching here. You know, we were the honor guard that stood with Elmo to defend Ernalda and Orlanth while they married. So I'm gonna go with Elmo, the loyal thing. Things have been different since the dawn 1300 years ago. Orlanth and the other gods retreated from the world, leaving it to mortals. You can still contact them through rituals and sacrifice, or enter the realm by reenacting stories about their deeds, which contain great magic, but they no longer walk beside you. When you settle in a new place, you marked this great change in the world by naming your land, not after a god, but after a mortal like yourselves. You called it Heartland, in honor of the king who taught you how to survive during the darkness. About 600 years ago, a dragon approached you, in either its own form or that of a human, with a dragon's soul inside of it. Dragons had always been hostile, or at very best utterly uncaring. Orlanth was always the dragon's slayer. You had to choose whether to believe it and cooperate and learn to do what dragons know, or whether to maintain neutrality. What was your attitude towards the dragons? Well, dragons are powerful creatures. It would be unwise to anger them. Though, if Orlanth was a dragon slayer, and he was a god, he truly knew something more than what we knew. So, I think we should maintain neutrality in this decision. Most of the people who said yes to the dragons moved to the Dragon Pass, a land to the north of your home. They stayed in Heartland, and it is a good thing too. For a little over 200 years ago, the dragons rose up and ate everyone who lived in Dragon Pass. They ate the Orlanthi, along with all of the other foolish human dragon friends. For a long time, no human went to Dragon Pass. They were sure that the dragons would eat them too. Recent events made you think twice about the abandoned land of Dragon Pass. A generation ago, a usurper who called himself the Pharaoh came to Heartland and started a civil war. Your clan broke into disputes, sometimes violent, about whether to support the pharaoh. In the end, your group of dissidents decided it would be better to risk the danger of Dragon Pass than to stay and kill your own kin, the greatest sin an Orlanthi can commit. Those unable to live under the pharaoh would move northward to Dragon Pass. People of similar beliefs from other clans had already made the same decision and settled there. So you made a new clan, just as your ancestors had done in the days of King Herod. Your new clan made the dangerous trek to Dragon Pass and selected a place to live. Like the other Orlanthi refugees from Heartland, you settled in Quivingland, a mountainous area in the southeast of Dragon Pass. You would call these lands your home, or Tula. Tradition required you to make a formal land claim. How much land did you claim? As much as we needed to grow? More than we needed to grow into? Lots more than we probably need? Huge tracts, far more than needed. I think more than we needed to grow into. Stick with normal difficulty and short length for your first game. Sorry, I'm not gonna follow your advice game. I'm gonna go with, well, I'll stay with normal difficulty, but we're gonna go with a long game. And we need a clan name. Jaamesmen? Why not? It's the James Johnson channel, right? So let's go with the Jaamesmen. Sacred Time is 2 weeks of magical ceremonies which precedes each new year. Here you allocate the clan's magical resources for the coming year. Members of your clan, council, or ring offer advice. Click another advisor for their advice or text to hide it. Click the boxes, blah blah blah. I don't really need this tutorial thing. Go away. Alright, so this would be a somewhat short video if I ended here. So let's go through 1 year of the game. Okay, we have honored our clan deity by performing the hero... We have not yet honored our clan by doing the hero quest of Elmo, and we're probably not going to. Our clan magic would be stronger if our chief were a devotee of Elmo. This is probably a good point, huh? Got a lot of people wanting war here. Alright, this is how we're gonna start things out. We're going to almost always put max into crops and herd. I thought there should be a box for children here, but maybe that's later on. Jaamesmen clan last year. We made the dangerous trek to Dragon Pass and claimed more land than we needed to grow into. We built a clan hall, some steads, and a temple to Alma. But when we left Heartland, we lost much of our connection with the gods. Other clans we knew back in Heartland also sent immigrants to Dragon Pass, so we already have friends and enemies in the new land. It's now time for the annual allocation of our clan magic. Our God Talkers forecast that the next harvest will be a good one. The Alanix spirits have chased off the vermin spirits, and there should be few rats this year. Maybe I might take one off of crops and throw it into diplomacy or trade. Diplomacy or trade. Diplomacy. Let's check on the neighbors in the menu at the left. Click reorganize. This is our first Elmo. He's old. His combat is renowned. He's really our only Elmo. Alright, the old lady will be on the council. Alright, I want this guy for his renowned custom. Okay, how did we do? Do we have any of these symbols here that match? No. I think we've managed to get somebody who represents different gods all the way across the way. Are these the people I just picked? They are, aren't they? Worships Orland. Well, that doesn't seem right. I swear we just we didn't reorganize, evidently. I wanted the second spot to be the person of best magic, right? This third spot was for custom, I believe. Okay, magic custom. Bargaining was this slot. Animals. Plants. This is just, yeah, she ended up in the same spot. And then combat. Right here. Okay. I think we got things the way we want. So how do I make it? I click there? I click there. Sora Goodseller, a trader priestess of the talking god Isseries, comes to trade. In addition to the usual exchange of goods, she asks if we have any white horses. Although we have some light gray horses, none can truly be called white. Pretty much everyone agrees to offer to save the next white horse for her. In fact, that's what I was thinking myself. So, it's a kind offer, but I'm sure I'll be able to find one on my travels. While the mission is on its way, events require your attention. The ring will advise you, blah blah blah. Is that always going to pop up? Basticos could act as a trickster on the ring. A worshipper of Ermal makes a handy scapegoat, and once in a great while is useful. Huh. Yeah, we don't need a trickster right now. It's sea season, and why do things look a little different than I've... Oh, that's better. I was hoping I could turn the tutorial stuff off there. Whoa, what did I do? Everyone is gossiping about what happened a few hours ago. The young woman, Ionaslera, was found out in the forest making love with Coral, a notorious poet and troublemaking warrior of the Heron clan. Coral left without a formal farewell. Ionaslera is unmarried, so her actions are not an offense against the gods, but she is betrothed to Jurator, a young thane of the Eagle clan, and the wedding is scheduled for next season. Alright, we got an end the betrothal. Let proceed. Let proceed. Tell Jurator. End the betrothal. Tell Jurator. Or let it proceed. Tell Jurator. So the older people, they think that we should end the betrothal. And I think that sounds right. Whoops. I couldn't get the one to pick. The matter is not yet resolved. Before raiding Carol's clan, the Hereni find out more about them by clicking them in. You mistake my intention, Squirrel said. I meant not to eat the whole cake, but merely to sample the dough. When our people heard this, they were outraged. Raid the Heron clan in retaliation for their insult, even though it is sea season. Let the matter rest. One of the warriors composed a poem. It was about how galling it is to have to swallow an insult. Hmm. We are being raided by the horse nomads. There's 150 of them, all mounted. They slipped past our patrol, and we could raise only 7 weapon things and 71 of the fjord in time. Well, we need to use some magic on this. Alright, we'll make a sacrifice to Hamact. So I don't think skirmishing with horse nomads is a good idea, because, well, skirmishing is basically firing arrows. And they are going to be able to avoid the arrows pretty easily, as well as return fire with arrows pretty easily. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure what maneuver does, but charge, closing the distance and getting these guys on their horses into close quarters combat is probably, well, maybe maneuver. We had to maneuver under a deadly rain of arrows as our forces engage with the horse nomads. Asborn notices that a detachment of riders is trying to sneak completely around and get at us from behind. What should we do? Make sure Varsons knows about the threat. Varsons reacted quickly, sending a small group and drove off the horse nomads with loud claps of thunder. It was a brief battle. Their battle magic was stronger than ours, but our courage is greater. We drove the horse nomads off, and their survivors left without plundering our Tula. We captured 12 horses, though their healing magics... Through their healing magics, our auxiliaries kept 1 warrior from dying and bandaged 1 of the wounded. So we lost 1 elite fighter, had 2 elite fighters wounded, 3 fighters killed, and 25 fighters wounded. Chances are you have some wounded fighters to tend to. One quick way to heal people is to call on the healing goddess Chalne Eroi, so switch to the magic screen. There's never a guarantee the gods will answer a request, but a sacrifice should be worth at least 7 cows. Twice as much or more should be better. Chalne Eroi prefers non-living sacrifices. Ah, damn it. I see. So we basically have 160 acres of land. 52 are designated to pasture, 108 are currently designated to cropland. We have wildlands that people are hunting on. How do we turn the wildlands into? I don't think there is. This looks different than... How do I explore? I want to explore my area. Giannis Lara, who is betrothed to Gerarder of the Eagles, was broken off after her seduction by Carol, the poet of Harani, is now pregnant. Giannis Lara is very happy, but her kinfolk see her pregnancy as a reminder of an embarrassing chain of events. Well, I suppose we need to leave this matter to her kin. A number of the clan's leading men approach the ring. Their leader, Menareth has a litany of complaints. Ever since Asborn became chief, Menareth says this clan has headed downhill. He's been chief for like 1 season. What's your problem? Our friends, the Eagles, mock us at every chance they get. The Iseltings send curses that spoil our butter and make our bread taste like straw at home. Things are no better. He sends our weapon things into the woods on pointless hunts for the plant folk. The spirits of our ancestors are slow to answer us. It's time we had a new chief. Or Laurent reminded them of how they had sworn to obey the chief when he was inducted, and even Menareth had to admit that Asborn was the clan's rightful chief. Alright, so it's winter time. We certainly want to not do anything crazy during winter time. Kenstrel, a Thane of the Heron clan, comes to complain that he was insulted by a member of your clan. Zero dined at our clan hall and spent the entire night insulting me. He waved his bare buttocks in my face, touched my wife in an inappropriate manner, and spit chewed food in my face. Because he is a member of your ring, my clan considers any insult made by him to be an insult made by your entire clan. Unless you punish him, there shall be war between our clans. But who was it? Remove Zero from the ring. Who's Zero? I think they should have a duel. Clicking this doesn't seem to work. Okay, we just removed Zero from the ring. Kentra was pleased by our justice, and the people were happy that Zero's insults would no longer seem to come from the entire clan. The now only has 6 members. Yeah, well, it doesn't. We're gonna send a gift to our neighbors because reasons. Okay, so they're friendly. Good deal. We can't establish a route? Why not? We might have to be allied with them first, huh? Okay. One of your Carls, Selinarg, complains that his wife, Anothea, dishonored him. It all started when he went to worship at the Heord temple and was insulted by Fredarkos, one of their Carls. He challenged Fredarkos to a duel, but Anothea did not want him to fight. When the appointed day of the duel arrived, she found where the men were fighting and knocked Salinar dizzy with a big branch. He could not complete the duel and has now lost his honor. We should sell some horses and buy trade goods. What? Why can I sometimes click on things and sometimes I can't? I had only one option I could pick because it's the only thing I could click on. You played one full year. That's it for the tutorial. Learn more in the manual. Good. Go away, tutorial, please. I think you're screwing up my game. Alright, so that is a full year, plus we created our clan. So I think this is a good place to end this episode. We will continue on, of course, in the next episode.